We are about to find out, everyone. It is 1-1 right now for Rival and eUnited, and we are ready for game number 3 of the grand finals from Smite World Championship.
This best of 5, now a best of 3. After losing that last game, eUnited opting for first pick. Definitely going to switch things up here, I think, in the banning department.
Last time we saw them ban out Fafnir and Athena, and I believe they did that in game number 1 as well. Interested in seeing where they go now.
They could possibly look to stick to the same route. The Morgan pick as well is such a strong god for Venenu, but again, he just encountered the issue where once his team was so far behind, there was really no way for him to try and utilize that stealth for those heavy bursts in the backline against carries that we've become accustomed to seeing him normally do. He's got to be able to provide a god in his team that I would maybe see him playing the Raijin himself, actually.
We're seeing these standard bans here, similar to game number 2. They really do not want to see Scream on that Bastet.
I wouldn't be surprised, honestly, if eUnited shifts things into the Ra for Venenu. He played it actually earlier in his set against Obey Alliance, but instead, it's an early Raijin pick. Wlfy showing that he's willing to play it in both games number 1 and 2, so taking that away from Rival's mid laner.
So then do they follow up with their own Morgan?
Rival again, with Osiris still being on the table, they could possibly just wait to see if eUnited want to lean once more towards that Chulainn selection. But Deathwalker, he ran it almost the entire time against NRG, and for good reason. This is a god. He just is able to actually go toe-to-toe with Benji on.
And honestly, Chulainn could have been another pick here for maybe iceicebaby, but instead, Ullr is going to be the choice for VOD. We didn't really touch upon it after discussing game number 2, but the build from VOD was very greedy, you mentioned, Taco.
The Ickful, we saw it once yesterday with the Ickful route, and again, it's 1,700 gold, very similar to Aussie. Got a slight nerf to it in that the passive doesn't provide the same amount of stacks as before when it comes to the power, but it's still an effective item if you're looking purely for the 1v1. It's considered very greedy because that's normally the slot that you throw an Executioner and Aussie into. Aussie for the early lifesteal and preventing yourself from getting super poked out from ganks, and the Executioner, of course, in case your team is looking for the team fights, which Rival tends to do a lot of.
Especially against the double Thorns that eUnited did run that last game. Aussie would have kept him a little bit alive, but with how much frontline pressure Rival had that game, I don't think he was too worried about not having Aussie.
Exactly, and we saw how effective it was as well when he utilized it as just the attack speed in general and how cheap it is. It's super cost effective for what it can provide. That early Gold Fury, that is something that eUnited are probably going to try and avoid, and that is why I love seeing this AMC prioritized so early on for eUnited.
Seems like the audience agrees with it as well here. One more pick for Rival, and then we'll go into the second set of bans.
In the second set of bans in game 2, AMC was actually taken away, which is why we saw PandaCat lean once more into the Hu Yi. So eUnited, they definitely want to make sure that they have some sort of dual lane presence that can match up with this Ullr.
They want picks instead of team fights. They want the early pressure, so AMC will certainly provide that. Any sort of rotation that PBM has in the early game paired up with PandaCat could be looking for some early kills onto VOD.
Waiting for this last pick for Rival. They are taking their time here. What do you think they should go with?
The concern is whether they take a support or a mid laner right now, because eUnited will most likely, again, try to ban away an Ares or the Geb. That was the problem and a heavy issue for eUnited in the last game. So, of course, Rival, if it's not broke, don't fix it.
So we're definitely going to see some mid lane bans here right now. What do you imagine?
RDO, no real surprise. That's something that they've been banning away. I could see eUnited maybe looking to eliminate Poseidon or even the Kukulkan. Although Kukulkan might seem like a little bit of an oddball pick, it's something that Wlfy has leaned on in the past with Rival.
Maybe even the Discordia ban, honestly. Wlfy has played that previously in this tournament, and I think that, honestly, the Isis could be potentially leaned on as well. He's been playing that. We don't have to worry about an Ares from Rival with his Geb pick, so we'll see soon. Ra could also be played. It would be a very conservative pick. You have the Geb shield, you have the Ra sustain. Your mid to late game team fights are going to be just so strong.
Taking that Sylvanas away from PolarBearMike as well as RTO. They do not want to deal with that control.
And eUnited already took away Athena from themselves. There is a slight possibility that eUnited could look for the Ares as well, because it is a god that is definitely within PBM's god pool, but a very high risk versus reward situation would arise if that were to be the case.
And we saw last time in game number 2 that risk versus reward didn't really work in the way of eUnited.
Not at all here. They wanted to go a little bit too aggressive between that tier 1, tier 2 tower. I don't think we're going to expect to see that happen anytime soon in game number 3. They're going to play a very safe and calculating game, lean on this Raijin and Muzen combination in terms of clearing the wave, and with that 5 to 10 second window, maybe look for some early buff invades.
Looks like you were right there, taking that Isis away from Wlfy, the utility that she adds, and of course the objective security is too much.
And it's very safe level 1 clear typically in the mid lane role as well. Rival, although they haven't looked too much for early invades, and neither is eUnited when you think about it, but it's still a certain possibility. Ra is being covered. Love the sustained selection for Rival.
It's such a good pick. Honestly, the team fights are heavily favoring Rival here. The sustain, the cleanse from Geb. How are you going to do any damage to Rival?
How is this Ra versus Raijin matchup?
Ra versus Raijin, when you look at the pure 1v1, early game is going to go entirely in Raijin's favor 9 times out of 10, simply because even though Ra can clear really well with that Celestial Beam, it's still just not the same. You don't quite have your heal online to be effective enough to outstand Raijin's damage.
And the thing is, once Raijin goes into his ultimate and bangs the drums, the movement speed decrease dealt onto him means that Ra is going to be looking at him like a target, trying to hit that Searing Pain ultimate and get him out of the game.
All right, Amaterasu being picked out for eUnited. That's going to be going to PolarBearMike.
That's actually going to be going, oh, it would have to be
he likes
for PBM. He loves his Amaterasu, but I was looking more towards that Nemesis pick for Scream. That's going to be a great god for really trying to single target out the Geb, because more often than not, it was Kalas using that blink on the Geb last game as the initiation factor. eUnited as well this game, I could see them actually building into the blink actors themselves.
Or just trying to go onto Vote's Ullr and get him out of the team fights very early on. Wouldn't be a bad idea, but Ra is going to be an issue here with such a great engage from the Serqet. As long as this iceicebaby and Wlfy synergize together, they can find some early picks very quickly.
We saw that synergy in game number 2, but we also saw how different games can be between game number 1 and 2. Looking at these comps, which are you giving it to?
I just love Rival's composition in this game, and it was such a smart pickup of the Ra and Serqet because they knew eUnited couldn't afford to go for either of those gods.
It's Rival all the way here. They have good pressure in the soul lane with this Osiris Serqet, great team fights in the late game with the Geb, Ra. I think their composition is fail-proof.
All right, guys, let's get into game number 3 of the grand finals. It is Rival versus eUnited.
Thanks a lot, Kelly. Tom Manager still here with Ryan Bailey. As we head into game number 3, something I want to bring up just a moment ago that was on your screen. Deathwalker looks the most focused I have ever seen.
He's usually, laughing, making some sort of face at the camera. My man is here to mess around and win a world championship. There's no doubt about it. And the way he played in game 2 is very conducive to doing just that. Didn't have the big star performance. He wasn't 9-0, anything like that. He just controlled the right side of the map with the help of iceicebaby and opened it up for Wlfy to be the star in that game. Vote was able to play PvE, bring down objectives, all of that because of the pressure that Rival had earned for themselves on the right.
And this game, I think he's ready to do the same thing. And I like the Osiris again on Deathwalker. I mentioned it before, but what's nice about the Osiris is that it fits Deathwalker's playstyle in this series, and that Deathwalker can be the guy to look at. He can play the star on this Osiris, or he can do exactly what he did last time. Wlfy on this Ra, there are so many countless videos that you can go back and watch if you're unfamiliar with why we are that excited to see him on the Laser Chicken.
It's one of my favorite picks for any player. Ra, I mean, you could go down the list of great Ra players in the league. I just love watching it. PolarBearMike hangs around mid, probably not going to stay there as he tried to do in game number 2. This draft for eUnited has a lot of potential to snowball out of control. However, there is the worry that there is not a lot of guaranteed hard CC here. It's really only PBM's ult that a lot of these Rival members are going to worry about as far as stuns go. And look, no beads for Rival. Lots of Aegises, though.
A little bit of damage to the right-hand side. You can see eUnited trying to play a tricky. Iceicebaby actually brought down below half HP. Wrap around the backside, and Scream hits him in the slice and dice, but that's going to be it. Very aggressive here from eUnited this time around.
Wlfy's going to be able to secure his own red alongside the help of Vote. That buff should go over to Vote anyways. That's despite the fact that you have the AMC and Raijin in the mid lane so dominant at that level 1 push. PandaCat doesn't stick around with Venenu. This is an adjustment that Rival has made off what eUnited likes to do. Wave 1, PandaCat in mid with Venenu. Rotate over to red, secure that, and immediately PandaCat over to the duo lane. Because the fact that AMC and Raijin cleared their buff a little bit faster, it opens the door for this invade.
But there's the stun. PandaCat still wants to fight, and Vote bites off more than he can chew, loses more HP than he deals out. eUnited strip the left side and the right side jungle.
Venenu gonna try and secure his jungler speed buff. Won't be able to do so. iceicebaby gonna grab it, but look at the rotation in. Scream Benji looking to track down iceicebaby. Picking up that speed is huge. That makes it that much harder for Ven to track him down. Venenu giving up a wave here to make sure that iceicebaby can't pick up backs.
Exactly. I think he also thought he might have been able to kill iceicebaby, who's repeatedly getting pinged out, blinks around the back end, and trying to find a way out. He's gonna back here. Scream comes around the backside. iceicebaby playing with fire. Won't have time to back. Has to cancel it. Looking for the zigzag. Doesn't have the jump, keep in mind. He has a zig. Oh, there he is. All right.
Ambush still on the run. iceicebaby's just taking Scream on a goose chase right now, but the problem is Ice is going to be a lower level, still looking for the way out, doesn't have that blink.
Venenu coming around the corner, misses the Raijin, still the zigzag, not good enough. Venenu and Scream chase around and finally get the first blood.
Cut the Benny Hill music, the chase is over. Venenu getting first blood there, I love it, because Wlfy, we saw how much pressure he was able to use in game 1 whenever he gets ahead on that Raijin. Now Venenu getting first blood, didn't give up too many waves in order to get it. It did slow down eUnited's overall farm. Wlfy's already level 5. He was able to just continually sit in mid. Back camps didn't go down for eUnited for a while, so even though iceicebaby falls, he did waste eUnited's time. Problem is, he wasn't getting any farm during that time either.
He's level 2, now hitting level 3. That's not where you want to be when your opponent is level 4. Speaking about Scream on the Nemesis, which Scream has brought more wins to his team by way of Nemesis than the Fenrir historically. And already this game showing a little bit more prowess, I think.
Now with Benji gonna proxy the wave between tier 1 and tier 2, this opens eUnited's options up to try and play aggressive on this right-hand side. Nothing for them to take quite yet, but if they're able to proxy the next wave on top of that, that speed buff is going to be up very soon, that blue buff up very soon, and eUnited know about it.
Mid lane Venenu on this Raijin, gonna bring out the ultimate to avoid what he thought was the Cobra's Kiss. Gonna translate that into damage on Wlfy. Scream and Benji underneath the tower. Venenu again gets the kill.
Ice has to be careful. Remember, no beads for him. That's why Scream tried to go on top of him with Venenu's ultimate that was trying to taunt in the Nemesis, or excuse me, the Serqet to set up for the Nemesis, but it ends up working out anyways. Wlfy on the semi-immobile mage, not quite able to get away. Love the aggressiveness, and that's all opened up by that proxy farm between tier 1 and tier 2 towers on the right-hand side. It just gives you so much time before that next wave hits to do whatever you want. Benji gets all the way to mid lane, dives tier 1 tower, helps get the second kill, doesn't really lose a lot for it.
You know, it's like a game of Go, and I specifically say Go and not chess, because chess is about strategy versus strategy and sort of figuring out which established strategy will sort of work around it. Go is a game of adaptation, and that's exactly what we're seeing here, where the team won game 1, and the second team adjusts and adapts and makes sure to fix it. It's very hard, I think, for these two teams to win back-to-back games, because each of them are fantastic at identifying where they went wrong, identifying where the other team went right, and fixing both.
And I think that both teams have a multitude of different strategies. It's not that you have to adjust the same strategy that you're going for. This is a pretty different composition from eUnited, much more team fight oriented than either game 1 or game 2, trying to take rival where they usually excel. This is pretty much a different strategy from them, and they're willing to try and pull this out on this world stage. Rival, the same thing, different sort of composition, much more pick oriented.
Scream coming here for Deathwalker, finds the ultimate, sprint is good to negate the slow. Hasn't used the jump, waits to his tower line. Very important play coming out from DW.
Having that ghostly form as well means that Scream can't really body block him very effectively.
Yep.
Big usage of that passive again. Deathwalker just, sometimes it's management right there. A little bit more lucky that he's in that exact form. That's just management of that passive, man. It's so important for Osiris.
Benji will be able to secure his blue buff in early game. eUnited has had control so far. Just shy of 1,000 gold is the lead. Kala's hiding around the corner while his mid laner takes down those mid harpies. Gremlin's likely to go to team rival, but they want to fight over him. Wlfy's going to be off the mark. Venenu dashes and taunts on in. Not enough damage to take out the players.
Still gets his money's worth with that ultimate, poking down Kalas and iceicebaby. No kills though, just trying to deter any potential aggression onto Scream there. Once Scream's beads are down, iceicebaby likely gonna be looking for the last breath. So Venenu kind of cuts him off at the pass, goes up to the taiko drums and says, get ready for a lot of damage if you're gonna be going onto my jungler. And that's enough to deter iceicebaby. Good teamwork there between the mid and jungle for eUnited.
Sometimes you just need the presence, right? You don't actually have to pull the trigger. You just stand in there, you just activate the ultimate and Scream one more time. Now, doesn't have the ultimate available just yet, but doesn't seem like he needs it, but with help from the horrific emblem, but Deathwalker's ultimate comes up just in time. When Scream turned into that lane, DW was counting down the seconds.
Perfect timing, but I love the idea there from eUnited. They pick up a horrific emblem as PandaCat gonna look at Vote here in the duo lane, force him to jump away. PBM on the chase, but even with the movement speed aura, not enough to close the gap. Love the idea to go for a horrific emblem on top of the Nemesis ult. Sprint gonna be picked up by Deathwalker 10 times out of 10, or to combat that slow coming out of Scream from the jungle. And normally, solo laners will pick up Sprint in order to combat the horrific emblem. So when you've got two potential options to take away the Sprint, now all of a sudden you've got kill potential in that lane. That gank, literally 3 seconds too late. If it's 3 seconds earlier and Deathwalker doesn't have that ultimate available, that's a kill for eUnited.
Such small interactions, and this one's gonna be big. The Nez into the taunt, into the damage, into the kill. PolarBearMike shows up and puts one on his slash line. Scream might be the turnaround kill, but he's got help from PBM, who double stuns. iceicebaby taking damage from the back end. Still able to confirm the kill on to Scream. iceicebaby looking for more. Deathwalker in the front line, trying to take down PolarBearMike, but Vote misses the X.
But PandaCat doesn't miss the stinger. Good Aegis from Vote, keeps him alive and gets him outside of range of Benji's ultimate. Great bait there by PBM. Juking around, using that extra movement speed from the Amaterasu 1, making sure that he can make use of those tank boots that he picked up to try and stay in the fights a little bit longer and just baiting until PandaCat can get there. Doesn't end up in a kill for eUnited, but just barely missing the mark.
And that's something that PolarBearMike has always had. Right now he'll be taunted and zigzagged on. Deathwalker gets the last hit. But still speaking positively about PBM real quick, you know, we talk about how players have sort of grown and become these great players. Well, PolarBearMike learned all of the other stuff over time. He came into the scene supporting for that Eager squad as a great support. He had great instincts, he had great mechanics. What grew over time was his ability to be a player, a person, and a leader. And everything combined is why eUnited find themselves here in the finals, because PBM has been that leader on top of his gameplay.
It's funny you mentioned that. I was actually talking to that old Eager roster's coach, Kret, before the set today, and he was saying that he would, even though PolarBearMike was a very new player, PBM has not been playing since, you know, closed alpha or anything like that. He joined very late into Smite's life cycle for most pros. Most pros have been playing since the beginning. PBM, one of the newer players in the league overall, but Kret was telling me it's easier to pick up a player and teach him the ways and kind of identify the potential there and then shape him as you will. That's why PBM took a little bit longer to kind of come full circle, to mature correctly, but boy, has it paid off.
Right now, Kala's being aggressed on. PolarBearMike playing very aggressive, combining with Venenu. 2 kills in the enemy's front yard.
Venenu now jumping away from iceicebaby. Scream falls to Vote. Now iceice looking for the kill onto Venenu. Should be able to find it, but Ice takes a lot of damage. eUnited still on the chase.
Oh my goodness, the perfect zoning. PolarBearMike stood outside of the radius of the explosion of the Serqet poison by maybe a body length. His understanding of just how far he can go to protect his team love it. And because of how aggressive they played, one more time, pressure relieved, there's the attempt on the Gold Fury, and there's the kill.
eUnited get their first Gold Fury. Each team that's won a game has blanked the other in the Gold Fury department. If that trend's gonna continue, means that eUnited's off to a great start here in game number 3. And it's the mid laners have been the key for me in this set so far.
times.
Game 1, Venenu, great showing. Game 2, Wlfy picks up the Raijin, has a great game. Off to another phenomenal start here for Venenu in game number 3. Wlfy has been bullied early on, and that identification that there's already that mini meta forming within this set. Everyone was talking about Benji versus Deathwalker, even PandaCat versus Vote. Those are side lanes that can really impact this game. So far in this set, it's been Wlfy versus Ven.
It really, really has. And if that is the headline, the subtitle is Scream versus iceicebaby. These guys, it's been who shows up. Scream, I mentioned it, 0-4, 0-5, and one last time, silent. And now, everything that has started here, Scream made the loop around on the Deathwalker, did that 3 times or so. And his ability to be just annoying in that lane is really keeping Deathwalker on his toes. And guess who's here one more time?
Showing up, trying to keep that pressure on. No more fire elementals, those despawns starting at the 10-minute mark, but Benji and the rest of eUnited just trying to secure their speed. Look at the difference in Benji's build. Games 1 and 2, he goes for the mystical mail, second item. He's trying to get that pressure, beat bully. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I'm right here talking. I'm talking to you right now. This game, he goes for Stone of Gaia instead of that aggressive, slow, expensive build that Mystical Mail gives you. This is Benji trying to survive in this game and going for health instead of protection up against that true damage from Serqet's ultimate. Gives him some extra survivability, intelligent building out of eUnited solo.
Right side, Benji gets a little bit of help from his friends, but won't look for much more. iceicebaby is here available, but let's visit the Hunters. Level 12 for Vote, level 13 for PandaCat. Both of these guys are really willing to take the 1v1s, and I think these are the characters that we're going to see those 1v1s on.
PandaCat going for his signature AMC with Talaria boots. The Scream caught out, actually gets his dash canceled by that beautiful Cobra's Kiss from iceicebaby, but still having the second charge of that Swift Retribution, enough to keep Scream safe as Vote and PandaCat split the Oracles 1-1.
So fast.
That's the whole point of these Talaria boots. Vote looking for the stun, not gonna quite find it, but PandaCat gonna find that stinger. Vote using that last minion, the body blocks, but iceicebaby's here.
He couldn't find the basics, so Vote's able to jump away, but he does have a support, and he'll get stunned on the front side. Backside is iceicebaby helping out PandaCat there. Scream around the back end, and iceicebaby's on the run, but Scream picks up the pieces.
That Winged Blade second item, critical to save iceicebaby's life. Not enough to save Vote, though. Is able to save his purification beads, but not the Aegis. iceicebaby taking a lot of damage from Venenu. Ven doesn't jump in a wise decision. Look at where Benji is. No blink for the solo laner, but still has enough to try and close the gap.
Ain't no such thing as 1v1 at this level of play. I say it all the time. Vote and PandaCat do go head-to-head, and make no bones about it. Panda lost that matchup. He missed too many basics after the burst. But this is a team game, folks. Scream comes through and helps out. PolarBearMike comes through and helps out, and Vote sits down.
Well, Vote just shouldn't be taking that fight. Even though PandaCat has the Talaria boots and the Warrior Tap are going to do more for Vote in the power department, Vote was sitting on a Light Blade, whereas PandaCat had already finished off an Aussie. That's just a lot more damage going the way of the AMC, who should be winning that matchup as is.
At the same time, Vote's looking more for the burst damage from his abilities. So by the time you're actually trading, if you hit your 3-1 combo, you're hitting that bladed arrow and the hail of arrows, you have that kill threshold advantage. But everybody's got to hit their stuff, and nobody did.
Either way, Vote ends up falling underneath that tower, and eUnited transition that little moment of pressure on the right-hand side and pick up the Portal Demon. Objective focus from both these two teams. Each time each team got a lead, they focus on objectives. More of the same here in Game 3. eUnited already taken a Gold Fury and a Portal Demon. This next gold that's about to spawn in 30 seconds is absolutely critical. Rival cannot afford to give up a Gold Fury in this situation.
A 5,000 gold lead. PolarBearMike. It's his dash knocked out. That's why he'll ult. A 5,000 gold lead right now for eUnited is something Rival can deal with. But like you said, should they find themselves up 7,000, 8,000 gold by way of Gold Fury, Rival are going to have a much harder time battling uphill.
PandaCat getting aggressed on, no purification beats or Aegis for him. Full combo by iceicebaby. That last breath is gonna do it. And this is perfect timing by Rival. They take out the one man who's gonna be able to burn that Gold Fury the quickest, PandaCat, right before it spawns. Now Rival not only stops the potential for eUnited to get a Gold Fury, but may have opened the door for one themselves.
And that is why we didn't see AMC picked for years, is because if you collapse on him, he just dies. There's no jump, there's no escape.
Gold Fury down to almost half HP. PBM, no ult, but it's halfway there. Rival gonna decide to leash this momentarily, most likely, but Venenu gets his dash canceled out. Scream already used the ultimate. Ven looking for the damage on iceicebaby. Will find it, but both getting low.
And there's gonna be the ultimate out of the mid lane mage. Brings out the Quince. No damage, going forward, still not enough from Venenu. Everybody relatively safe on the side of eUnited. Rival will back to base. If eUnited had a ward there, they would absolutely crush the Gold Fury. But with Rival at vision on the objective and eUnited lacking it, they don't know that everybody returned to base.
Well, PandaCat not being there also a big reason why eUnited can't really do that objective. But eUnited don't get anything out of their multitude of ultimates on that Gold Fury, but they got what they came for, and that's preventing a Gold Fury secured by Rival. Now that PandaCat's back, look where eUnited is.
iceicebaby is lurking, so is Chulainn, so is Wlfy, so is Vote. Everybody but Deathwalker, and guess who's making the rotation? Deathwalker's in the mid lane.
Look for Vote, he's got no relics. eUnited's gonna be hunting him.
Right now, 25%. Here comes the blink in. iceicebaby on top. And the leash is good. One more time, pulled, looking for the fight. Chulainn immunes, looking for PolarBearMike. There's the ultimate right down Broadway. There's PandaCat dealing the business. Chulainn goes down to the hand of the hunter.
Deathwalker has to ult up and over the wall. No tier 1 tower in mid. Not a lot of safety there. It's right back to the Gold Fury. eUnited goes.
No ult for Wlfy. That's going to be a Gold Fury all the way for eUnited. Looking for the fight after the fact. Venenu burns his ultimate on the players. Right down the hallway. Somebody's going to protect, and it's going to be Deathwalker falling down with no protection.
eUnited just playing this objective beautifully, even though they did lose PandaCat right before that engagement, even though they used a lot of ultimates to try and get Team Rival off. They bait the Gold Fury in, they force iceicebaby's blink. I don't think they had a lot of reason to try and go for that Gold Fury there because they were waiting on 10, 12 seconds until their ults were ready. As soon as they were, immediately back to the Gold Fury. Relics were down for Vote. He can't be an impact in that fight. Wlfy had to be far back because of how far behind he is in damage in his build, forced to go into a Winged Blade just to get some survivability. This eUnited roster is just managing their cooldowns beautifully and understanding exactly what they need to do in order to pick up these objectives.
There was a moment right before we saw the Gold Fury successfully taken down when Team Rival baited everybody into and they pulled everybody into that corridor right between purple and the safe spot, right? And so Wlfy fires his ultimate down everybody, and it just doesn't hit the way he wanted to. You mentioned a couple of games ago talking about damage checking. Had he realized his damage wasn't that high because of the Winged Blade, I think we see him save the ult for the objective secure.
Could have been the correct play in that situation. But also, when you're getting aggressed on, you see people line up like that, it's tough to decide to just hold that ultimate for the time being. Regardless, Wlfy may try to do that now because being down about 7,000 gold is such a deficit that it's going to be tough to try and kill anybody with that ultimate for the moment until he gets some more penetration online. He's working what is probably going to be an Obsidian Shard. Could also be a Divine Ruin if necessary, but that's not, Ra's not very good at applying that Divine Ruin. You really need burst damage with the Ra. There it is, right on the PBM.
And PolarBearMike caught up in between a rock and a hard place, uses the ultimate to get on out, followed up by the jungler, but it's PandaCat dealing the combo damage, and Venenu trying to combine as well. Backside, PolarBearMike still being chased by Deathwalker, but the full collapse by eUnited, and Deathwalker gonna be in trouble all the way to Thursday, but he's still out of there.
And this is just eUnited abusing their lead. So much more damage they could do, so much more damage they can take than Rival right now. PBM absorbs 3 ultimates and now just gets to sustain with that Ama switch stance. Portal Demon gonna go down while Benji just zones away Wlfy.
And Deathwalker, and iceicebaby, and Vote, and Chulainn, just by himself.
My man doesn't even need to hit his ults. It doesn't matter.
Just stands there.
Now Fire Giant the call for eUnited. Wlfy's ultimate gonna be up soon, still working towards that Obsidian Shard, but Rival understand this is happening.
They have to contest. Absolutely. Still eUnited looking for the fight. They're up almost 10,000, more like 8, but still definitely have the upper hand in these team fights. So look for them to peel and fight often. 25% of the objective, and their peel and PandaCat will not. Still now, just now, changing his mind. Deathwalker is everybody's target. Venenu being aggressed on by the solo later, and the damage is dealt.
Big snipe on the Ven forces both his relics, but he's going to be able to escape. Now Deathwalker trying to look for more as PolarBearMike is going for a big ult. Only stuns one, and Rival successfully defends. Might be able to just sustain up here.
This is a really big moment for Team Rival, Ryan. If they're able to not just get this defensive stop, which they already did, but revive and get their health back up, they can fight a second time. I'm not saying I want them to go to the Fire Giant, but I want them to stay present.
But keep in mind, Rival just used a lot of their ultimates as soon as they came up and available. eUnited didn't have ults there. Only PolarBearMike was able to use his, and now Venenu, Scream, PandaCat all have their ultimates available. Benji's is going to be up soon as well. Rival did get a successful defense in there, and that's the beginning of a good sign for Rival. If Wlfy has Obsidian Shard there, Venenu's gone in the blink of an eye. That's the confidence builder. As soon as Wlfy backs the base and spends that 650 and says, okay, I've got a little bit more damage, it's already done, that moment in his mind is him saying, now I can do that. Now if we just do it again. Just do it again, and we win the fight.
Like I said, on the left side, there was no previous damage check. So he just fires blindly, and he goes, oh, I'm not really hurting anybody. That kind of hurts my feelings. Now he knows exactly how much damage he's doing, and he's going to be able to swing it.
Oh, that stinger. iceicebaby still on the run, though. That Geb shield, not enough to save his life. Venenu finds one, and now he's taunting in Kala.
Kalas is in trouble here. Gonna fall down. 2 for Venenu. You know, I was almost worried about that ultimate. Like, everybody likes a flashy kill. I was almost worried that was a waste of an ultimate. But as long as Kalas dies, it's all good.
All good, because now you've got 2 dead. Deathwalker now might have to be concerned. Scream doesn't have his ultimate available, but still plenty of slows with that slice and dice. Deathwalker gets aggressed on, while the other 3 members of eUnited head towards Fire Giant. I don't know that Vote and Wlfy are even coming close to going over here. No, they're going to try and go gold and just give up FG. Problem is, I don't think Rival has time to do that objective either.
Rough stuff. I just can't believe that Team Rival find themselves so empty-handed after that exchange. I really thought Rival was going to be able to find at least the gold, at least have a zoner, but not going to be able to do either. Instead of Team Rival in game number 3 looking up at eUnited's 11,000 gold lead. It's 11-4 with 23 on the clock.
eUnited is just abusing the map right now, just doing such a good job of finding pressure and then applying it elsewhere while maintaining pressure in the same lane. What I mean is sometimes when a team would get pressure in one lane and then they try and put it elsewhere on the map, they're forfeiting the pressure they initially had. That has not happened for eUnited so far this set. Venenu in this game gets pressure. What does he do? Rotate around, maintain the lead, try and abuse Wlfy in lane, which he did with the help of Scream, Benji, and PolarBearMike. But PandaCat having the safety to know that Venenu is going to be the main target, that he's going to have to be the answer for Team Rival, he's really taking advantage of that.
See, it's been Scream for me. Another hot play by Scream right there, forcing out the mid lane Ra. Here comes Ride. He's actually going to turn around on PBM, but Wlfy barely alive, still here. Meanwhile, left side, PandaCat looking at the tier 2.
Scream might need some help. He gets hit by that last breath, still on the run. Tier 2 should fall, as does Scream. Rival only lose a tier 2 tower in response for 2 kills. That's a worthwhile trade.
Still down 12K. But Rival are showing us their signs of life. They are still absolutely in this one. eUnited, however, they've got to regroup mentally, I feel. They got a huge lead, but they've been scatterbrained for a while.
Could be. eUnited just shouldn't be there underneath that mid lane tier 2. Just a little bit of miscommunication or a little bit of a little bit too much bravado from the eUnited boys. I could agree with you there.
Which is something they have a tendency to do.
But with a 12K lead, you've got a decent amount of leeway. Love what Rival's doing, though, taking this 4v5 opportunity and looking for something.
You got to watch Benji on the back end, and Kalas does exactly that. Tier 2 tower falls down. Benji activates the thorns and people will walk away. Rival trying to run away. Deathwalker instead looking to give his life for the team. The team doesn't get that though, and they re-engage.
Still alive, still alive.
Trouble.
Still alive though. Finally, Venenu's gonna find him. Kalas, it's a big cataclysm. Snipe not gonna do quite enough as PolarBearMike brings him down as well. Vote down very low. PBM continues the chase.
And Vote is on the run. Still alive for the moment. Past the tier 2. We're not aiming for the truck. PolarBearMike takes down Vote. Wlfy's next. Venenu on top of that one. 4 players down. And eUnited looking clean as hell.
Left side Phoenix down to half HP. This should fall. Another great fight from eUnited as iceicebaby, the only one left alive. He's not going to be able to do a whole lot against 5 members. This is the composition that Rival needed to get ahead on. Game 1, they picked heavy early game, but even still, we've seen them team fight beautifully when they're on a team fighting style composition, even if it's supposed to be early game leaning. This composition is much better at finding those 2v2, 1v1, 3v3 picks. Serqet, not great at these 5v5 team fights. The fact that Rival fell behind early, specifically in mid, where Wlfy needs to be sniping off of iceicebaby's setup, really spelled doom early for Rival.
That last exchange was an absolute mistake by 4 members on Rival. Deathwalker said they are chasing up the lane. I will handle this. Rival should not have turned around. They should have let Deathwalker die and walked away. Because they don't, they lose the left side Phoenix. I maintain if DW is the only one dead there, we don't see eUnited walk up the lane.
I agree with you. It's one of those moments where you're thinking to yourself on Rival that this is a 4v5. We should be able to fight this, but not only is it a 4v5 when you're down 12K, but even though you have the man advantage, you're still not particularly healthy. Deathwalker was low, his ultimate was down, didn't have a lot of mana left. That's just one of those situations where on paper, you have a one-man advantage. You're one man up. You're in a good spot to fight. Not really when you start to look at the details.
eUnited so strong here in our 3rd game. 15 kills under their name. The Fire Giant about to respawn here. Pretty much just wasting time until said objective does show up. Team Rival, do they try to defend?
I don't know that they can. With the left side Phoenix down, that puts so much pressure on the base. Now, Wlfy does have good snipe potential because of that raw, that searing pain, but with how close you have to be still, it's not particularly close, but with an Amaterasu and Nemesis, these gods that can close the gap very quickly, Venenu can jump up on top, PandaCat's additional movement speed. There's a lot of things that can chase Wlfy down, and he's been chased down enough times this game to have that in the back of his mind.
PandaCat starts the Fire Giant. Already half HP. Team Rival trying to filter in here, but Kala's doing a good job, and that's going to be a nice little stop. Venenu is going to peel alongside PandaCat. Deathwalker all up close and personal. Fire Giant leashed.
Now Rival can reset, use that raw sustain. Wlfy did fire off the searing pain there, trying to bring Venenu down to a workable health, but was just a little bit late. The beads were good from Ven.
One more time, and this is the positive side of Rival's draft, is that Ra's able to do that, but Rival able to do that as well! Snatching the objective away! Beautiful situation. Iceice pays his life, but he gets what he came for.
Deathwalker trying to escape. He's going to use that Lord of the Afterlife, but Rival, even with the objective on the run, Venenu can't affect the fight from that far back. Tycho Drums can't do it.
Even with the Fire Giant, Ryan, eUnited are still up of an absorbent amount of gold. This fight under the Phoenix is still going to be tough.
Ooh, snipe didn't hit Venenu. That's who Wlfy was aiming for, but it did force PandaCat back. That actually might have been the better target. Even though you don't get the kill, it's enough to bring the ADC down. What in the world even stole that for Rival? Was that Vote over the wall?
I'll answer that question visually. Let's take one more look at that Fire Giant steal. Fantastic plays all around.
That was absolutely insane that Rival's able to pick up this Fire Giant, because with this FG, eUnited push down and basically end the game all by themselves.
It's just Deathwalker. Look at him. Just bam on the Osiris play. Heads up play by Deathwalker. Oh my goodness. What does that do, D?
Now, Gold Fury can't even be finished. Rival's Phoenix respawns on the left-hand side, and Rival with FG now feel confident enough to step all the way up to the Gold Fury.
And that's a huge play, that Fire Giant. The Gold Fury might
Big knock-up.
here. Keep an eye on the left-hand side at Scream. Vote jumps away. Raijin is good. Not enough to heal up Vote. Scream gets the kill on the Hunter.
iceicebaby forced back, all of Rival forced back. Wlfy still has that ultimate. Kalas trying to make it happen. Scream blinks forward to try and keep the engagement going. Kalas just trying to roll away, but Venenu gonna jump in and bang on the drums. Ven gets one.
Deathwalker walks away for now. Left side Phoenix, nobody defending. That one's gonna be nice and easy. Left side down, mid will be the focus.
The fact that Vote's relics were down, the entire determining factor on that fight. eUnited just immediately focused out the Hunter, and that's where Ullr can have his trouble. Without relics, he is extremely vulnerable. Not only do you not have a CC immune ultimate, but you got a stance switch.
Right now, here comes the Titan. Rival is under attack. eUnited, this is not as secure as it was in the past. And iceice is going to confirm a kill off of damage from Wlfy. PolarBearMike playing on the back end, and you can tell by his body language in-game, we're out, please come follow me. And that's exactly what eUnited will do.
Rival defend their base successfully, so eUnited gonna go back, pick up the consolation prize of the Gold Fury. I really feel like if Vote just has relics in that team fight, Rival have a real chance to take it. But
I agree.
The fact that you have to spend time to change stance, to jump away, the fact that you don't have a CC immune ultimate, Ullr's really a sitting duck in those sorts of scenarios. Those are the sorts of things that you don't really discuss whenever everyone's talking about how strong a character is.
Very
For
true.
all the strengths that of Ullr that have been accentuated, and they're there, don't get me wrong, the weaknesses still remain.
Absolutely. World even started by Team Rival. And that Fire Giant, a lot of the times, Ryan, we see teams behind by 25,000 and they steal a Fire Giant. Secretly, we kind of sigh because we go, all right, you're extending the game and you're still going to lose anyway. That Fire Giant kind of came at the exact moment where they needed to. If eUnited take that Fire Giant, they likely win the next team fight in the game. But Team Rival take that Fire Giant, and look at the moment of the game that it is. They take that Fire Giant and extend the game by enough time to reach the point where gold is irrelevant.
Rod of Tahuti done for Wlfy. Still sitting on that 6th item necessary. Still hasn't sold that Sands of Time starter item. Now working on what probably is going to be a Soul Reaver. Could also be a Book of Thoth. Vote sitting on 5 items, working on his 6th. Probably going to be an Odysseus bow. Look, if there's a team that can win a game like this, it's Rival.
We've seen them do it quite literally. Deathwalker left side was pinged out. I don't know if he got nervous or whatnot, but will return to base. Team Rival grouping up just a little bit, waiting for this next opportunity. Fire Giant will be respawning in short of a minute. So 32, almost 33 in. eUnited have 18 and Team Rival only have 7. And that gold is separated by almost 20,000, 17-3. But folks, I cannot reiterate enough how little that will mean in a matter of minutes.
Exactly, as soon as Rival's able to finish off their final items, gold irrelevant, XP already pretty much irrelevant. PolarBearMike, the only member of eUnited yet to hit level 20. iceicebaby hitting level 20 is going to be important for Rival. Getting that extra base damage on that last breath, absolutely critical.
Yes.
But even still, Wlfy's level 20, Vote's level 20, Deathwalker's pretty tanky now. And this is the sort of build that Deathwalker's gone for that can now all of a sudden make him feel much tankier. He's finished off the height of the Urchin, only one stack.
Where do they go?
But a pick here, a pick there, maybe he can frontline. Now, eUnited get a free FG, Rival losing their left and mid side Phoenixes, nearly impossible to contest that. Rival has to make a choice. They either have to entirely give up this Phoenix or try and bait some relics like they did right here. And now PandaCat is going to be the focus. iceicebaby is going to be locked in on blinking onto PandaCat and Wlfy trying to snipe him out.
My question to you is, should Rival have given up that Fire Giant?
Yes, I think so.
You want them to fight here?
This is a much more advantageous spot to fight.
More control under the squashed spots near the Phoenix. eUnited grouped up as 4 with Chulainn on the left-hand side, making the slow rotation.
And look at what Scream does. He knows Rival's game plan, and he just says, go back to base, Ice.
And here's going to be a nice ult from Wlfy. Still not enough damage either on the players or the Phoenix. Benji super deep, and they're trying to punish him. Knocked up. Deathwalker can't get it. Right side Phoenix does.
Mid Phoenix respawns, left Phoenix respawns as well. eUnited don't have the same sustain that Rival do, but with the Fire Giant giving you that additional MP5 and HP5, eUnited can stick around. Now Venenu down to about half HP. You can see his health slowly ticking up. Still has his relics available.
Mid Phoenix will be the focus, barely alive, and eUnited likely to take it without too much of a fight. Team Rival, on the other hand, has something else going on in their prerogative. Here comes Venenu with the ultimate, spreading the damage, but not enough on any particular individual. Again, more about the objective. Mid Phoenix dies.
But all ults down for eUnited outside of that Stinger. Wlfy tried to one-shot PandaCat, but couldn't quite find it. That's a big cooldown loss now for Rival, really relying on that damage from Searing Pain.
Still, Wlfy does have a relatively short cooldown on that round. Ultimate Venenu focused here as the mid laner on the Raijin. Deathwalker gonna get dashed on by PolarBearMike. Ultimate forced over the wall. Again, eUnited try, but still can't get the push.
eUnited playing this very patiently, understanding there's nothing for them to take if they back up here. They aren't getting any stronger, and by keeping Rival here, they're preventing Rival from farming up and getting towards those 6 items.
Still Rival able to play defense so far. PolarBearMike dashes in, trying to get Vote to do something. Raheel underneath the Titan, trying to get the players to group up. Benji gets the players grouped up. Ice on the right side, Ice on the wrong side. He'll sit down. Wlfy big damage down the middle, and PandaCat takes down Deathwalker. 3 players left to defend. The Titan is falling. That's gonna be game 3. PolarBearMike's feeling it. 1 more game to go for the North Americans.
eUnited just 1 game away from bringing the world title back to North America. Rival now, this has been a game, this entire set has been one team punch, the other team counter punch. eUnited punches, Rival's turn to try and adjust. Again, as I said during the cast, for me so far, this set has been mid-centric.
Yep.
Raijin has been a determining factor now in 2 consecutive games. Whoever is in that second pick spot, in my mind, can't afford to give it up. If you're second pick, you gotta ban Raijin.
Absolutely, I think that goes without saying, but again, I think you have to focus also on the junglers. That Serqet pick was a faith pick, it just didn't happen. Where else can we see Ice go is the question I'm asking.
I mean, Susano worked pretty well for him. I would love to see him back on that selection. It gave him some pressure. Deathwalker on the same, Osiris just wasn't able to do it. I just don't know if Ullr is the right pick right now. I think teams are doing such a good job of exploiting Ullr's weaknesses. The AMC felt very strong there for PandaCat.
Yeah.
I came into this expecting AMC to be more dominant than Ullr. That has really panned out thus far. I think that whoever wants to make that first ADC selection, if you want something that's risky, I'd rather see you go AMC over the Ullr.
Yeah, I think the AMC has been really, really powerful, and not just for PandaCat, but in general. But these are the guys that have to make the adjustment. iceicebaby there on the right side. He needs to step up in game number 4.
I mean, everyone from Rival does. But again, this set so far has really been towards that mid lane. I really want to see focus there with your priority picks. Mid jungle, pick them early. Try and get some pressure there. Even if you're relinquishing some pressure on the duo side, that's fine by me. You need something that can keep up with Benji on the right if you're Rival, but give Wlfy something where he can play aggressive. When that happens for Rival, they've played a lot better.
We've talked a lot about adaptation and things to change. One thing I don't want to change, Kalas. Kalas has ran this entire tournament for Team Rival. He has looked fantastic on almost every single god he's played, and he did so even in the losses here in the finals. Kalas is looking good. The rest of Rival need to be fixed, and how do they do that?
Thank you so much, Tom. And I mean, at least in game 1, it looked very one-sided. In game 3, it looked quite even. What happened though?
It just felt as though the Geb Raw picks were great responses to what eUnited were introducing to their draft as far as pressure was concerned, but the casters nailed it right on the head. It's the Raijin god. It's doing way too much damage, having way too much control in that mid lane presence, and because of that, Venenu was doing a very similar playstyle to what we saw from Wlfy in game 2, where he was typically the one starting off the fights.
Just look at the 2 frontliners that were being aggressive here between PBM's Amaterasu and then you got Scream's Nemesis just diving the back lines, specifically between that one engagement around the tier 1 and tier 2. There was just too much damage. The mobility here that PBM provides for his team during that game on the Amaterasu was too much to handle, and Callus playing this Geb support couldn't sustain the damage, even with Wlfy's Raw.
You know, Taco, you were saying that you enjoyed the Raw counter to Raijin, but he went Doom Orb, which puts him into a very risky position.
That's the problem, is that when you pick Raw, you're kind of leaning more towards that mid to late game presence, and we saw a little bit of that as Rival were defending underneath their Phoenixes, but after the fact, it just comes still that Rival just couldn't face off against how much of a lead Raijin was able to help eUnited establish throughout the early mid-game portion of the match. And when you have this trickle-down effect of one lane being so obviously one-sided, then all the other portions of the map tend to kind of just leak out or spill over into it.
Wlfy just needed to hit a little bit more of his Raw snipes, unfortunately. Couldn't be on the mark every single time. Needed to wait on some setup, but at the same time, every time Callus would go in to force the Cataclysm, would force out some of the beads. So you're not going to hit the Raw snipes either way, though. I think that a big portion of that, to delay that game, was also the steal from Deathwalker. The Fire Giant steal around that 28.5-minute mark.
I mean, when it seems to be snowballing in favor of the enemy team, what better comeback mechanic can you have than stealing the Fire Giant? But also, you can hear the audience behind us chanting PBM, that momentum that you just have from the audience. Do you feel like that gives him a little bit more stress, or does that push him in the right direction?
It's going to be a mixture of both usually for players, especially for PBM coming into this World after his experience last year on ALG wasn't a very good time for him. And it's just one of those things where you kind of use that power from the audience to push yourself through it, and he's had an excellent tournament so far.
His journey from Season 3 here to Season 4 with Team Allegiance going undefeated in the group stages, saying, Europe sucks, baby, let's go. What happens? He loses to Lich T in group play, actually facing off against NRG in the quarterfinals, and Europe didn't suck then. But this year is a little bit of a different story once he joined eUnited halfway through Season 4. They're now in a great spot. After defeating Obey Alliance 3-0, they're one game away from crowning themselves the Smite World Champions in Season 4.
One game away, that pressure must be on them, and we have a shot of PBM right now. They're still discussing. We actually gave our players a break because a 5-game set can go really long, and it looks like it's potentially gonna go the distance, but to do that, Rival has to take one more game off of them. What is the big change you want to see here outside of the Raijin ban?
I also want to see a little bit more of a difference from Rival's prioritization on the duo lane, because Ullr is always going to be a great god when it comes to those laning phase bullying aspects, but then you have to consider, what does he bring to the team fight? eUnited has done a great job, or at least they did a great job in that last match, really exploiting those weaknesses that Ullr can have, and that's the fact that there's no CC immunity on him. As soon as they were able to force out Vote's actives, he was just a sitting duck for the dive potential that eUnited's draft allowed for.
And also, I love the adaptations eUnited did by picking a Muzen Cobb, actually, before the secondary ban phase, not going for the team fight presence that the Huyi does, because the fact that the Serqet last pick from Rival, iceicebaby, once he gets hit by the Stinger, he can't just really escape without using those beats.
And outside of that, Taco, I believe you were saying it, the Nemesis pick that eUnited going into Ullr.
Oh, Nemesis just destroys Ullr because he doesn't have that CC immunity, and his speed buff on his movement speed for his second ability, it's great at times, but it doesn't completely take everything away, and because of that, you're still dealing with a little bit slow. Say you force your escape, well then you have to worry about all the movement speed that's provided from the Amaterasu, from the Nemesis having that additional movement speed as well. There's just no actual way for Vote to really run away. Plus, PandaCat, AMC Stinger, totally just said it. The cripple effect that this god had against all of Rival's draft just made him so much more impactful, and it just felt like Rival couldn't really escape.
Whenever people look at Nemesis, the way Scream played it, they think of it as a tank killer. You know, go on the Gab, he's gonna blink in, blow him up, but no. Sometimes you could just go on those squishy targets, get the Ullr out of the action very early on, and that's exactly what he did a couple of those engagements there, and I think we're gonna see maybe Nemesis move up a little bit in the prioritization.
Even without Ullr being picked, possibly?
Yes.
Even without Ullr being picked, yes, I could see a shift between the Hunter potential leaning more towards AMC, as Aggro was talking about on the cast, and on top of that, maybe more guys that are going to be able to handle the AMC a little bit better, such as the Hachiman or Hu Yi, like we've already seen a little bit of presence from. And this Nemesis as well, Susano again might be introduced into Rivals Draft, because Ice Ice did have a whole lot of control, and you're kind of fighting mobility with mobility in that scenario.
I love the plays there, but outside of the picks and bans, it really does come down to the play styles once you get into the game. And after that Fire Giant steal, I really appreciated the fact that eUnited seemed to take a step back and be a little bit more patient and wait for Rival to really make a misplay.
In all of the matches so far as well, it seemed as though the team in favor of winning it is always the team that manages to secure that first goal Fury. It seems as though neither side is really placing as much thought towards defending those early objectives, and just getting those timers at this level of competitive play makes it so difficult for you to look for those recovery periods that Rival has been able to find, or eUnited has been able to find throughout the season. These two teams are just so evenly matched. It's actually crazy thinking about what's giving the other just a slight edge.
Outside of the Gold Furies, also the opposite side of the map, these Fire Giant Elementals, before they fizzle away at the 10-minute mark, once Fire Giant spawns for the first time of the game, they're the high point of contention for both of these teams. The Osiris Serqet in that game wasn't the best idea here, going up against, yet again, Benji's Chulainn, and this time Screammm's Nemesis. They need to find more rotations here, maybe 4-man collapsing, not allowing eUnited control on the right side of the map.
Is